Hi, folks. If you have tuned in for our noon session with the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute Foundation, we're just finishing up our lunch and we'll be planning to start in about 3 or 4 minutes. So thanks for your patience. You know these things never run on time. Thanks very much. Be with you in a minute.
Convention that's tonight. Today lunch is our required annual meeting for members. All Lions of Wyoming and Colorado are members of our foundation, and so I welcome you. I would also like to welcome past international president and the chairman of LCIF, Doug Alexander, to our meeting today. You notice that it cleared up today where you didn't have to fly. So, anyhow, before I start into my prepared remarks, that are actually part of the meeting, is that Neil has asked for some time, and if you would like to come up. Nope. Nope. Okay. Well, I'll just move on then. I would like you to know who your trustees are from Wyoming in particular. Dave, who's running computer for us, Dave Orr is our Wyoming vice president. And if you want to get to those pictures, well, that'd be great.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say, for him to get to the computer. Craig Thompson from Gillette is a trustee, and Gary Rotifer is a trustee, and as of our meeting this morning, is that in July he will become the Wyoming vice president. Anyhow, on our website, we just use the acronym, Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute Foundation, RMLEIF, .org, is that you'll find all of our wonderful mugshots and be able to identify with us as to where we're at. And people's addresses and stuff. The way we're structured is that there are 4 districts in Colorado. Each of those districts has 2 members of our trustees. Wyoming, when the foundation was originated, we had 2 districts and we had 4 people on the board. When we went to a single district, they allowed us to keep 3. So there are 3 trustees from Wyoming on our board. I am not a trustee. I am elected as their president. I'm John Harper. I'm from Cheyenne Sunrise Lions, for those of you that don't know me, but I look around the room, I think you all know me. And anyhow, it's that we do not require that our elected officers be trustees. So off and on, as I've been involved with the I Institute Foundation since 1989. And I'm going to try to tell you everything I learned about the I Institute in 5 minutes. So when the foundation started, first of all, as the I Bank was in rented facility off premise, they needed a home, and the Department of Ophthalmology at Colorado, at the University of Colorado, had four people on staff, and it's an antiquated building on Colorado Boulevard. And so the desire was that we would build a new building for the Department of Ophthalmology, and that we would include the eye bank. It would have to have space in that building. And it just so happened that the Fitzsimmons Army Hospital and all of that property was being donated. They were closing down the facility itself and donated the property to the University of Colorado. And we became the very first building on the Anschutz campus. And if you've ever been out on Colfax and seen, there's like $3.2 billion worth of buildings that have been built around us without counting the VA hospital that has opened recently. But in the beginning, if you were a contributor, you got one of those kind of lapel pins. If you want to scroll down, Dave, is that we used a great deal. We matched dollar for dollar with LCIF in the original grants to come up with our first $6 million that we gave. And then subsequently, the building's been enlarged. And with the original building, the bricks, the color, the stone that's on the walls, the carpet that's in the building, all of that kind of stuff, is that we as Lions sitting on the architectural committee got to pick out all of that. So when you go to that campus and see all those buildings, know that you're looking at a Lions project regardless. This picture is what the building looked like when it was finished, and that tower on the right is a staircase. And what's unique in this picture, but then when they expanded the building, we tripled the floor space in the building. And that's a picture from the north side of the building looking back towards it. This is the new building from the front. And we actually moved out into the parking lot, changed the floors, the actual footprint. And then we went up 5 stories. So there was that much of an improvement. That happened in 2013. We moved into the original building in 2001. And on the canopy is where it says Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute. On the back side of the building, it's much more pronounced that's the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute. Part of our gift was that the building would always be with our name. Now, as UC Health bought the building, they put their name on the front. And then as they received a very, very generous gift from the Sue Anschutz Rogers, is that they placed her name on the building. That represents the activity that's going on inside it. The building is still the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute. So that'll give you an idea. The left side is what the original building covered for floor space. It was built like a wedding cake and a foundation big enough to go up 5 stories. So when they expanded the footprint on the right-hand side, well, then they were able to go up 5 stories. So we added 2 stories up and went out into the parking lot. We started out, there was around 20,000 patients seen per year. And this last year, there was in the vicinity of 150,000 patients seen in our facility. So we were not able to buy or build at the time the wet research labs. So there is another building in behind us now that we occupy one of the floors that is the research component of the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute. So lots of territory down there. And we used to be visible from Colfax Avenue, but they just started the process of finishing a 7-story parking lot in front of our building. So if you are a patient going down there, parking is going to be much better, but the view of our building sure did get it in the seat. So I asked Dr. Mandava, who is the head of the ophthalmology department, if he would have some comments for us today. So if Dave can pull up, he has a real short video, but I asked him to tell you, so instead of me telling you as to how much he appreciates the Lions and the money that we've spent with them. So.
Hello, my name is Dr. Naresh Mandava. I'm currently the chair of
have
ophthalmology
sound.
at the University of
Maybe we
Colorado School of
don't.
Medicine and the director of.
Would you believe we practiced this ahead of time?
Just a moment, I think I know what I failed to do. Should have audio. See if we got it now. Cool. Find my mouse. We did. We practiced it and it worked just fine.
I would like to point out that at the very beginning, when they did the groundbreaking for the original building, is that Dr. Mandava was more in the line of a staff ophthalmologist, specialty in retinas. And for those of us that have diabetes, that retina man is really important. And I count on him as to be my advisor as to taking care of my eyes. And it's ended up that the physician that I see in Cheyenne was mentored by Dr. Mandava. So the outreach, from Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute is that they train the ophthalmologists, and that we're starting to see that it's a benefit to us whether you live in the Denver area or not. And I will stop if you're lucky enough to get that to run.
I don't know what's wrong. As I said, we tested it before. It worked just fine. Sorry. Okay, sorry, thanks. Let's see here. Settings.
If he had gotten this to work, what an advertisement for the program tonight, the magician. So, my sad part is the next part is that I needed Dave to move to a PowerPoint, and we're still trying to get that. Well, we may have to come back to Dr. Mandava's comments, but
I'm sorry, guys. I was in here at 8:30 this morning fixing this to make it go, and it worked fine.
Anyhow, if you could move on to the PowerPoint that Michael prepared for us.
Okay.
I had hoped or envisioned that maybe there would be several in the audience that never even heard of the Eye Institute before, but I would see a lot of familiar faces here. I'll encourage as you leave, take information back to your clubs because we've left some on the counter for you. And
Okay, ready.
PowerPoint, please. Oh, that's the start. Okay. I don't know if you can even read that from the back, but UC Health is who owns the building. The University of Colorado actually operates, all of the activities that are inside it is this Department of Ophthalmology, Health Sciences Center. One of the things in this first slide is the innovation that happens there is that we've always talked about patient care, or we've always told you that we're raising money to buy more equipment. And we thought that, we need to tell you more about what's happening in there. And the benefit of what's going on there with their research and so on is that It benefits both locally in Denver, but it also reaches out into the region and globally. Some of the people who are involved there are involved in some global activities. Dr. Cahook, he must not sleep at night because he's so creative. But one of the things that he's developed is that when they do eye surgery and so on, is that he developed a tool that's used globally.
It's working. Now I'd figure out how to shut it off. I know what to do now.
Okay. Anyhow, is that one of the other things that's of interest is that Dr. Cahook in particular, he is involved with a group and Orbits, and a DC-10 was donated to them, and they actually have a flying hospital, and they fly into like Africa and conduct eye surgeries. But what the whole purpose is that they are teaching ophthalmologists in those areas how to care for the person after the surgery's been done and how to do the surgeries and so on. So things that are happening at our eye institutes, are truly global. They have over 20 clinical trials going on right now as to where they're working with patients and studying, what all's going on. One of the most recent things I think we're ready to move on to next is that Dr. Cahook also, one of his recent things is that people who have glaucoma need to have regular treatment, and that there's medicine that helps control the pressure in their eyes. Is that in the most recent publications, news that's out, is that he has developed an implant that goes underneath your iris that for 3 years produces the medicine that's needed to control the glaucoma. So a person will have regular treatment of his glaucoma for that time period before they have to work on it again. So there's it's just it's amazing what's going on in those kind of things. The training, the concept of an eye institute is that there has to be the clinical services, outpatient type services. It has to be located in a university setting so that you have the education component, and then you have to have the research part. So we obviously are teaching ophthalmologists. We are the only place between Canada and Mexico and between Salt Lake City and Kansas City who is training ophthalmologists, and that they're going back into the workforce, so that you're aware that that's happening there. There's also this slide talks about cell site, and I see this program as that, first of all, two of the physicians that are involved in this just won National Eye Institute's top 2 honors. There was 3 big awards that were issued, and they received 2 of them, and it has to do with cell site. And what they are doing is that they, first of all, are growing retina tissue. And in this whole concept, of what's happening in cell technology is that there's all sorts of programs. I think we're going to see in our lifetime, where a lot of things that we thought were not curable are curable because they can replace the part, because they can grow a new part. One of the things that they're working on is growing a new retina. And they're working with other institutions to figure out how to place them, and they've developed a tool that they'll be able to go in, and somebody that has macular degeneration, they can go in and identify the spot in the back of their eye that is not working anymore, and go in and underneath it place new retina tissue that will become attached and restore the sight in that area. That's where they're focusing right now. But the other thing is that a lot of times you hear about somebody that has retinitis pigmentosa, and I found that that's like the word cancer, is that there's 10 jillion different varieties. But basically with retinitis pigmentosa, you have one of your cones dies, and it tells the one next to it to die, and eventually the person goes blind. Is that if we can replace the retinas, is that the blindness that'll be prevented. And I describe it as that with the research that's going on is that our definition, Helen Keller charged us to be her Knights of the Blind, and that that we would work towards preventable blindness. Is that her statement really isn't talking about the blindness, preventing blindness, And I think the whole definition of what's preventable is changing because of the technology that's going on at places like our Eye Institute. Anyhow, these gals, if you're interested in hearing more about this program, get in touch with me, because I'm willing to bet that with Zoom or that type of technology, is that Dr. Canto Solar would actually do a program for your club meeting or a zone meeting and show you what she's doing. She's so excited and upbeat. The other thing that's exciting is I come from a medical background, and to me, if you are just really the cat's meow, top of the line, is that you go to Johns Hopkins to practice, because that is the place. We hired, the University of Colorado hired Dr. Canto Solar and her staff from Johns Hopkins and brought them to Denver. And so it's pretty amazing what's going on with them. I can't remember if there's one more slide or two more. Artificial intelligence. I'm dumb enough that to me, artificial intelligence means that some robot's gonna, they're gonna strap you down on the table and a robot do eye surgery on you or something. But that's not what it's talking about. Is that they've set up a whole division now and hired in a specialist doctor. But by examining people and keeping track of their records and what's going on, is that when we talk about algorithms and this type of thing, is that they're really talking about that by studying, what's happening to people's eyes, is that eventually you're going to see somebody, a doctor could see somebody in their office and they have a certain condition, and he's going to know that that's a precursor to what's going to happen to them in the future because of, of having that algorithm that tells him where it's headed to, what should be the treatment, what's successful, not successful, all of these kind of things. And so it's fascinating as to what they're beginning to do with that. For me in particular, I work with Children's Health Service for the state of Wyoming, and retinopathy, prematurity, with newborns, preemies and so on that way. That was always a big deal. And they'll be able to track a baby, and tell you where he's going to be, when he becomes an adult, what his vision problems are going to be. I was visiting with the Alzheimer's people, is that we're to a point that they can look in your eyeballs and figure out what else is wrong with your body. So I don't know where that's headed to, but anyhow, it's pretty fascinating what all happens. I think we can go to the next. The thing that Dr. Mandava prides in is that when they added on to the building, is that they really didn't give all the doctors. There's actually 80 physicians and research doctors, PhDs now instead of 4. Plus staff, there's around 120 employees in the building. Anyhow, they intentionally did not give everybody an office. And they've set up pods so that when the docs are seeing patients, is that they get together and compare notes, and I saw this, what did you see, that kind of thing, so that they get a more inclusive approach to caring for a patient that's down there. For Wyoming, it's not practical. If you have an ophthalmologist in your home community, or if you just need to, a routine vision check with eyeglasses on that way, you're going to go see your optometrist. But if you have a medical condition going on that needs, an ophthalmologist, there's still ones all over the state of Wyoming. But if they have, if you have a reason to think that you need a second opinion, or if it's something that your doctor feels is beyond what he's comfortable at working with, then it's appropriate to be referred, to the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute. The other thing is that they've been, as I described with Dr. Canto Solar, they attract top talent, and all of their areas, they seem to be able to be attracting some really skilled specialists, and it's a pretty amazing place as to how it works. The other thing that I've always wondered is that when I traveled as international director and you saw wonderful things happening in other states and so on, so how does that information get disseminated? Surely not everybody's having to start from scratch, with their research and that type of thing. there's a whole section down there that's all they do is read the literature, see what everybody else is doing. How does it apply to what we're doing? How can we build off of that information, and how can those people use what we're doing? I'm sure there's patents and copyrights and everything else that get involved along the way, but it's just so that you know that with like the information, like our cell technology stuff, it's that information, they're working with other universities. Now, I have to tell you that when we had Dr. Choi, our past international president Choi visiting down there, is that they shared with him that they had just been to a big conference. Well, they had a really good breakthrough in their technology that they weren't ready to sell or to share with the rest of the world. And they looked at him and winked. We were at this conference, and everybody was saying, we're this far in our technology, but we have this place that we're stuck. And they just grinned and says, we found the answer. So it's fun that way. The other thing, the going word is, especially for those of you that are diabetic and are worried about, your blood sugars in your eyes and how it's affecting your retinopathy, all these kinds of things, gooseberries is the word of the day. They said they don't know what there is in a gooseberry, but they've discovered that gooseberries seem to have a major effect on how your eyes perform. So anyhow, those were things that the information people at the Eye Institute wanted me to share with you.
We'll try Dr.
We'll try Dr. Mandava again.
Okay,
I feel bad if we can't play that because, he went through a lot of effort, to make a message for us.
Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. I'm going to start it over
filter
again.
to the report that shows only the sales for the online store. The problem of adding the filter. What we will do in this video is not just looking at different functions and how they work. That would be too simple and in some way misleading.
There he is.
Okay, just a second. Let me make that change because we were getting sound onto the screen that we didn't want before. Find my mouse. It keeps disappearing. Here. Here. Okay, I think that's got it.
Hello, my name is Dr. Naresh Mandava.
Just coming out of
I'm
here.
currently the chair of ophthalmology at the University of Colorado School of Medicine and the director of the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute here at the Entrance Medical Campus at the University of Colorado. I'm really sorry I couldn't be there live today to speak to all of you, but I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to say a few words to thank all of you for everything we've been able to build today. If you look back at the inception of the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute in May of 2001, we moved into our first 48,000 square foot building, and which would not have been possible without all the support of Lions from all over Colorado and Wyoming. Many of you in the room were instrumental in making that happen. Since that time, we've grown tremendously. If you look at our growth, when I first came here in 1998, and then we moved into the Eye Institute in 2001, the department had approximately 4 or 5 faculty. Now we have over 80 physicians and PhD researchers in the group, and we're able to take care of over 150,000 patients. And we're able to do cutting edge research as well and train the next generation of leaders in ophthalmology and eye surgery. Some of the things that I'm most proud of that happen here are all stem from what happens here every day. The Lions were instrumental in building the infrastructure necessary to see all the patients that we see and have continued to invest every time we've expanded. Our current building is almost 140,000 square feet, and the Lions were instrumental in funding major portions of that growth. The research that we're doing here is leading to innovations that will change the way we practice ophthalmology and provide care to those most unfortunate to have debilitating eye diseases. This includes medical devices that have been developed here, some that are already commercially available for patients all over the world, such as the Cahook dual blade. But we also have new technologies in stem cell therapies, as well as innovative programs in artificial intelligence, epidemiology and biostatistics, areas focused on finding solutions for those with blinding eye diseases. The department is recognized as one of the finest in education as well, and we train all of the eye surgeons that are trained in the United States, from Canada to Mexico and Salt Lake City to Kansas City. In summary, I just want to say that things are going extremely well here, and we'd love you to visit us sometime here at the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute if you haven't seen it recently and seen the growing infrastructure that we're building. But again, we're so grateful for everything you've done for us, and we are looking forward to many more years of fruitful partnership with your amazing organization. And I, as a Lion myself, am very proud of everything we've done as Lions. Thank you so much.
I would like to point out that besides being a Lion, is that he has been a generous contributor to when we're raising money at the Lions efforts. Hopefully that won't fall out while I'm talking. On your tables, our secretary or our treasurer, Steve, is over here. Oh, he's clear in the back. Anyhow, he prepared for us that you can see. When we have major projects going on and are hitting you for money comes in. This last year, we were kind of between projects. You see that not that much came in, plus stock market and so on that way, but at least you get a picture of where we sit financially. You also have some history that you can take back and tell your clubs more about us. Obviously, you can get a trustee to come visit your club if you would like. The list of donors is for this last year on the back side of it. The QR codes will get you into our website so that you can learn all sorts of things about us. Steve has been a godsend to us because he loves doing all of that kind of stuff, getting things onto the computer system. One of the things that I would like to point out is that at the bottom of the front page, it talks about the Vision Conference, Low Vision Conference coming to Denver, July 24 through 27. The Low Vision Clinic that's inside the Eye Institute has attracted the International Low Vision Conference. They told me that they already have 92 different countries that have people coming to this conference. They will be in Denver. In their advertising and so on, is that there's a picture of the front of the building that has the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute pretty bold, the canopy reporting and stuff. I thought, good grief, if they're having this and it has the Lions name on all their advertising, is that we should have the Lions present. And we have made arrangements that we are sponsoring the coffee for that conference, so the Lions names will be there and so on. But and we'll also have a booth because we feel like no matter where these people come from, there's a Lions Club in their area that if they have a patient that needs assistance, is called the local Lions Club. So we will be marketing Lions Clubs International and not just the Eye Institute Foundation. We need volunteers. How many of you gone to the USA Canada Forum? So you have a notion of what the format of this meeting is going to be like. They need help at the registration table. They need help with people who are just direct traffic. I describe it as you stand on the corner and point which way the bathroom is. There'll be 4 sessions of classroom going on at a time, and they need people that electronically will capture people who are attending for CEUs, that type of thing. And we need people for our booths. So we need about 10 volunteers that are willing to be there from, like 8 in the morning, 7 in the morning, I can't remember the timing now, until 5 in the afternoon for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that week, and Thursday morning. And we know that most of you live far enough away that it's nice to know, but you probably aren't interested in going that far. But if you are interested in helping us, we have provided, would you please let us know that you're interested, and that we will gather together names and figure out what, how many people we need, which day, and try to put together, a meaningful schedule. Discussions come up is that when we meet with the people from Denver's 6C, that they're the ones that live close enough, is that perhaps some of them would be willing to host a Lion that came to visit, to work the conference, so he wouldn't have a motel bill. If you're comfortable with staying with another Lion, that's a possibility. The conference people themselves have made it so that it's in the Sheraton downtown, that the rates for the rooms that are there for the conference attendees will be available to volunteers. They'll feed lunch. We don't know what else we will do. We'd like to give you a souvenir, of the event, whether it be a T-shirt, a hat, or something. I don't know what direction that's going to take, but anyhow, is that please take into consideration, if you look at the QR code that's on there, is that it would take you up to this, and then there's all sorts of information about the conference itself and what's going on. And then Steve, is that on, I know you have that on our website. Is that where the QR code, does it take you to our website and the Vision Conference?
Yeah, the QR code on the front page, the top one takes you to the RMLEIF website. It's the one we use. It goes to information about signing up or to be an assistant,
Right.
or
So-
to give us your name.
So if you lose this sheet, you can do it online on our website. And anyhow, the conference people, it's a conference planner that's working with the university to pull this off. They are much relieved that if we can provide that part of the manpower for them, they don't have to find it. And I think they will be somewhat receptive to helping us with some of the expenses for people that come to help. What that will look like, I don't know. The other thing you have on your table is that each year we're going to give you exactly the same piece of paper. It's not a test, it's a survey. So you can't get a wrong answer. You mark whatever you want and either give them to Steve, or back here on the back, there's an area where you can leave them on the table for us. If there's 12 of you from your club, fill out 12 of them. Everybody fill out. Bottom line is that by the end of the convention, we're going to pick those all up, and we're going to draw one of the surveys out of the hat, and whoever's club that person represents will get $150 to use for eye care, whether you help pay for a pair of glasses, send somebody to the doctor's office for their eye care, whatever is that, we will do that. Now, what we're trying to do is that we know that you think we get together 4 times a year to party, and that's one of the answers. What do the board do? So, but next year, we're in hopes that if we give you the same survey, is that you might have something more descriptive about what we do in that answer, and we can compare and find out if you're actually learning more about us, because we find that people are pretty uninformed. And that's our fault for getting you more information. So that's the reason I did the program that I wanted to do today, was to give you more information about what's really going on down there, and that we're not just asking for equipment. I don't know if you can find the slide that has the pictures of equipment.
I think I can.
Anyhow, also on that form in the Rocky Mountain Lions Eye, if you go into that QR code, get into ours, you will find a donation page. Whether you as an individual want to donate to our foundation, or if you your club does, anyhow, there's opportunity where you could donate there. My request is that many of the clubs are been, that you have, whether it's our Lions of Wyoming Foundation, the Eye Bank, the Campion Specific, is that you make regular annual donations to those. I would encourage you to consider making a regular donation to the Eye Institute Foundation. We are trying to build up. I told you that we're looking at 31 new exam rooms on 5th floor. We would like to do as much as we can for that. We would like to start building towards that as soon as possible. We always ask us that we want to help towards that. Here's a picture of an exam room. Probably looks like what you see in your own office. I would think that even for you, Brian, it probably looks like a chair at your office. Well, you're retired now, so the chair probably looks more like a recliner at your office now. And these numbers are at least 10 years old, but I asked Dave to put this on here if you'd scroll down, is that the chair, that's, $6,000. The glide that it sits on, $4,000. I don't even know what a tonometer is, but I know it fits in the cradle on the next to your slit lamp, doesn't it? Anyhow, it's a couple $1,000s. If you scroll down, I think the slit lamp's on there. So, yeah, the slit lamp itself is $20,000. Anyhow, it's those kind of things that we're actually able to take your dollar and match it with LCIF dollars. And that most of our donations to the Eye Institute have been in that fashion. We, as a foundation, cannot apply for an LCIF grant. It has to be from the district. So when we've done these before, this district has, over the years, has done at least 5 grants that were in the $100,000 range. Each of the districts in Colorado has done grants that are in the $100,000 range, as well as because they're a multi-district, their council can apply for grants. So we've had as much as 7 grants in the air at the same time to be able to fund. But what are we doing with the money? We're buying that equipment. And so that you have an idea as to, instead of just saying that we want to help them expand the building or whatever, that's what works best for us because we can get the dollar for dollar match with standard grants or matching grants from LCIF. We'd like to do more with them, but it just seems that that's the best way for us to use our money. Once again, Rocky Mountain Lions Eye Institute Foundation. If you take the acronym .org, gets you into our website, and lots of this information is there. I can't read my own writing. Besides the elected trustees, we set up in our bylaws is that if there's somebody who's not a trustee but has skills that they feel would be helpful to us, let us know if you're interested in helping us, because we do committee work. And we do most of our work now in committees and then report back at our actual board meetings. So you may not have to come to like Denver to a board meeting or something, but by Zoom, a lot of our committees meet, and yet we have the ability to appoint you to a committee. So anyhow, if you have an interest in helping us manpower-wise, that's great. The other thing that I'll fall back on is that when Steve put together our program and has the list of trustees in it, in the middle of the third panel, he put behind there is we term limit. And I know that I've been around forever, but when I do my 2 terms as a trustee, I disappear for a year. Then I'm eligible to run again. And because the Eye Institute has been a passion of mine, is that I get back on. And so I've been around, but most of our trustees, after they've served 2 terms, they're time limited or term limited and have to leave. We put on the dates as to when they're leaving. If you're interested in being a trustee, look at those dates and start planning ahead, that if you would like to run. There's nobody's feelings to be hurt if we had 2 or 3 people running for an office once in our life. Anyhow, that concludes my comments about the Eye Institute. We had a slide that went up that had questions. You feel free to ask any of us in our shirts today. Tomorrow we probably won't have these on, so you have to remember who's your trustees. I didn't recognize, I think earlier, the not pictures up here, but we have trustees from Colorado that are here, and that would be Steve Allen that's talked. Ken Schwalz is from Loveland, and Betsy Denny is from Cotopaxi. And if you don't know where Cotopaxi is, get out your map. And anyhow, it's down there in Colorado. She drove the farthest to get here, so thank you for being here, Betsy. We have two meetings. We have a meeting that was the annual meeting for our trustees. That was this morning. This meeting serves as our annual meeting for the general membership. So thank you. Before you leave, the cabinet secretary would like to make a comment about credentials.
Step through here. If I haven't spoken to you, it's because I just flat missed you, but credentials, we have an election tomorrow. I have 10 clubs that have turned in their credentials. I have several other, if you don't have a copy with you and you need a copy, I just happen to have a blank one here. Fill it out, Gary would be glad to help you. Gary, the district governor, sign it for you. So any questions about voting tomorrow? If you've already turned in your credentials, you may get an email with the ballot on it. If we don't have your email, then tomorrow afternoon, I believe it's around 4 o'clock, they'll need to show up and vote in person. We'll have ballots for you there. Any questions? And I don't know about you guys, but Mick always gives a wow speech for us. And if you listen to John and all the things that are going on down there and what's happening with the world of eyesight, I think that really does deserve a great big wow. What's going on? That's great. So thank you.
I have to make a comment about your wow speech, Mick. When I was a young lion, the first time I had to talk about the Eye Institute, I was still quite nervous because I didn't know what I was talking about. And I had to follow Mick when he was doing his wow speech. And I shared that with many people, is that it's so difficult to follow after such a talented person. So anyhow, appreciate your support, Mick. With that, I call this meeting adjourned.
Take a break. We're going to start at 1:30 back here. And I'll do a little minute countdown because I'm a good. Got a little bit, about 10 minutes, take a break.
Okay, good. We're 15 minutes early.
10 minutes count.
We will be returning in about 15 minutes. We'll start a new broadcast. There's another link on your agenda if you care to join us. If not, of course, they're available after the fact on YouTube. And again, you can click on those same links for mailed out. Thanks for joining.
Can I remove my flash drive?